Hey, as people have come to me over the years, one of the biggest issues is just parents and children letting go of each other. And so we've actually worked up a trilogy of messages on this. Trilogy, it's a good word. Sounds like Star Wars. Okay, that's kind of old. So the first one is children, the importance of letting go of your parents when you get married. The second one is parents, the importance of letting go of your children when they get married. And then the third one is we're going to be doing today, and it's children, what to do when your parents won't let go. What to do when your parents won't let go. Hey, I'm Mitch.
And I'm Kim at Keeping the Vows, where we're helping people discover and maintain a Christ-like marriage. And today we're talking to you about, to the children, what to do if your parents won't let go. Sometimes parents have trouble making this adjustment, and so we're going to give you some tips on how to help them along with this. Your marriage actually depends on it because it's not fair to your spouse, and it's not God's plan for your parents to be ahead of your spouse in the marriage. Every situation is different, so you might need to get good counsel on this. When Mitch has counseled people on this, he's had children who've actually moved away because their parents can't let go. And then he's had parents who've actually followed. But we're hoping that we can give you some better tips.
Yeah, there's a saying, happiness is a really close-knit family that lives in a city far, far away. And unfortunately, for a few people, that might be true. Okay, so let me give you a scenario. A young couple comes to me, they're not even married yet, and the parents on one side are insisting on manipulating them. What are they going to do? And this is the counsel that I generally give them. What you do now is going to set a pattern for the rest of your lives. So if you allow yourself to just buckle and do anything that they say, then that's how you're going to live your life. But if instead you decide to stand up for your own marriage, then that's what you're going to have the rest of your life. And so it's important to keep in mind that God called husband and wife to be one flesh. Okay, so here's a scenario. A young couple comes to me and the parents are manipulating them and they're not even married yet. And what I tell them is you're going to have to make some decisions, and how you start handling things is how you're probably going to handle it for the rest of your life. So if you want to let your parents come in and dictate what you do, then that's your privilege. It's your life. But if you don't want them to, then there's things you can do there also. So what do we tell people to do? Well, the first thing I ask is if they'll come for counsel, and most generally the parents that if they want to manipulate won't come. And we're talking about parents here that want to manipulate. And manipulate means I want something that I want it my way, but it's not in your best interest. That's what manipulation really is. And if the parents are like that and they're saying, well, I'm not going to be happy for the rest of my life unless you're miserable for the rest of your life, those are the people that we're talking about here. It's not over like what color the, something is at the wedding or something like that. But these are just people that want to come in and dictate your life. So if the parents won't come for counseling, and oftentimes a manipulator will not come for counseling, then I tell people that the next thing I'd probably do is, of course, have you spoken with them about it? I had one person who felt like their mom, the groom's mom, before they were married, kind of was a space invader and just wouldn't leave them alone. It's like a little too much. And so the bride-to-be told the groom, and the groom went and talked to his mom, and she cried, of course, but she understood and she backed off, and that's fine. That took care of that. So you talk to him first. But what happens if you talk to him and then it doesn't work? Well, what I would suggest then is writing a letter. And as you write a letter, I ask you to write it and do not send it right away. Sleep on it a couple days, show it to another person or two, a pastor or somebody, and make sure that there isn't something in there that could be read the wrong way. That's so important. Don't do text, don't do phone call, don't do, you can send this letter by email, that's fine, but think it over first and do that. So the letter needs to be well thought out, and you need to have other people read it too. You don't want to do anything that's threatening, and so what I did is I actually prepared a sample letter that could be read, and this is something, when people come in, I say, I don't tell them what to do, but I say, what would happen if you sent your mom or your mom and dad a letter and it said this? And I tell them, and then they say, could you write that down? And then I'm hard pressed to try and do it again, right? Because I have one moment of brilliance and it doesn't usually come twice. But anyway, Kim, go ahead and just read the letter that I might send.
Sure. Dear Mom and Dad, we want you to know that we love you and appreciate you as parents. Thank you for all you have done to raise me. I will be forever grateful for this. I know at this time we all are aware of the tension between us. We need to communicate to you that while we love you, we don't feel you are allowing us to become one flesh as husband and wife. We really want our marriage to not only survive, but to thrive. God ordained marriage and asked married couples to have an allegiance to each other that is second to none. Genesis 2:24 even tells us to leave our parents and cleave to each other. Leaving our parents doesn't mean we don't love you or that we don't respect you. We certainly do. But God knows that our full allegiance has to transfer from our parents to our spouse. That's what one flesh means. We need to move forward in our marriage relationship. We hope that you would be willing to support us in this. I must tell you that we will no longer be told what to do or how we should live. If you can respect our marriage and not come between us, we'd love to have a relationship with you. If you continue to try to run our lives and cause division between us, we cannot have a relationship with you. We leave this in your hands. We are hoping to have a great relationship with you. Sincerely, Joe and Katie.
So you notice I do something when I write a letter like this. I always do the Oreo thing, where you start out by saying, thank you so much for all you've done for us. I appreciate all that. And you give them all the compliments. Okay, so that's a cookie, right? And then when we ended here, we said, we'll leave this in your hands. We're hoping to have a great relationship with you. Another cookie. So we have a cookie and a cookie. But in the middle is the Oreo. You cream them. In the middle, you let them know the business of why you're doing it. And that is, I must tell you, we can no longer be told what to do or how we should live. You are one flesh, and that means body, mind, and soul. God made it so a husband and wife could be one flesh, body, mind, and soul. And it doesn't transfer from one of the groom or the bride to their parents. That's not one flesh. And the parents need to know, they need to step back, and they need to give God's plan honor for that to happen. And when I got married, I could just feel my mom stepping back. My mom loved me. She was great and everything. But she took a step back and let Kim come in as first place, as the female in my life. And that was good. I don't think I probably realized it at the time, but now that I look back, I see that happen. Yeah. Kim's parents are really good at this. They love us. They do anything for us, this and that. They're great parents. But they don't get involved in our affairs. They stay out of them. Mm-hmm. And I really, really respect them for that. I really do.
So Mitch has had people write this letter, and they've had great results. It's taken care of the problem. And he's had other people who've written this letter, and their parents have actually disowned them. So
tough. Where is it written that you and your parents have to be best friends the rest of your life? Don't shut this off. Let me finish, okay? Because some people are going to get real offended by that. But the bottom line is, if you and I are friends, it's because we have a mutual respect for one another. You respect me, I respect you. But if you stop respecting me, I'm not angry with you or anything. We're just not buds. And I'm not going to call you up and go out for Mexican food or pizza or something. I'm just not going to do it because we don't happen to be friends anymore. And you know what? Friendships breathe in and out. But when a parent is not looking after your best interest and they have to stay in the middle of it, then, I respect parents as parents. Mm-hmm. The position of parent you can still respect. But so far as them being a friend and having input in your life, then that doesn't work. I knew one person who was getting a divorce. And he told the new son-in-law to be, he said, well, good luck. They're not going to be happy unless you're miserable. That's who they are. Well, then that's what you have to work with. And, unfortunately, there's some people like that. They're not happy unless you're miserable. And if one of your parents is saying, hey, I'm going to make you miserable at every turn, I'm going to run your life. I knew one, I saw the text, one bride showed me from her mother-in-law, said, you better be nice to me because I have the power to make him leave you if I want to. So she was going to come in and manipulate their life. And that's what she told her. You know what? And there's no place for that person in your life. You still love them and respect them as a position of parent, but they can't have input in your life if it's going to be between the two of you. God tells us not to let anything come between what God's joined together. And that includes parents. So something for them to think about. I know you have an allegiance to your parents, and some of you are cringing right now, but your spouse is more important than your parents. And if you think they're not, that's fine. You can just be roommates for the rest of your life if you stay married that long to your spouse. But I don't want to just be roommates with Kim. Mm-hmm. I want to have a one flesh relationship where all of my allegiance is her, everything is poured out to her, all my emotion, all my cares. She can say, what are you thinking? And I can just pop it off and tell her right there what I'm thinking, about what's going on in my mind. That's what I want with my spouse, and that's the way God intended it. If your parents come in between and they manipulate your life, then they're circumventing God's will. And that's how you got to look at it. I have this theory I came up with that you'll never have a rational conversation with an irrational person. So when people come into me a lot for counseling, and they'll explain somebody who doesn't make sense at all, and I'll say, "Can I ask you a question?" They'll say, "Yes." I'll say, "Is that person rational?" They'll say, "Oh no, they're not rational at all." I'll say, "Okay, well, do you understand that you're exhausting yourself trying to have a rational discussion with an irrational person, and you never will have that?" And boy, it clicks, the light turns on. Now they still struggle because maybe yeah, but it's my mom or dad. I'm still supposed to respect them. You can respect them, but you can't let them rent space in your head for the rest of your life. So you're probably never going to have a rational discussion with an irrational person. And if that happens to be your parent, then so be it. There's people out there that just don't have real good mental health. And that's probably why people would do this, And so something to think about.
So once you get married, your marriage relationship should be your focus, and you shouldn't let anyone or anything, even your parents, come between the two of you, forming that one flesh bond. And so whatever in your life that's negative and trying to pull the two of you apart, again, being something or someone else or parents, then you need to take care of that so that your marriage can be the marriage God wants it to be and the best that it can be.
You bet. And so thanks so much. I hope this has been helpful. Make sure you go check out our blog at Keeping the Vows. At the bottom of that, we'll probably have links for all three of these. When we get them all up, I try to put on 3 blogs and matching videos per week. So we're doing each. And so once all these get up, you'll be able to go from one to the other down at the bottom from the blog. You'll be able to click and go from there. Thanks so much for watching on YouTube. Thank you or on Facebook. On YouTube, if you would, click the like button. Click the subscribe if you would. We'd appreciate that. And tell your friends. Repost this if you would and pass it on for other people to learn. I know that we can learn from you, and hopefully you can learn something from us. That's our attitude. Post questions, and we will try to answer those. That's how we stay relevant. Thank you so much. God bless.